first. So before POJO class, let's do one more simple thing. How can we supply the data through map? So map is a key value pair, right? This is also key value pair. You can see here, this is also key and value. So key value pair format. So how can we supply data with the map, right? So that's the next test case. Let's create with the map. So I'll just copy this and create a new test case. So create a user post call with map, right? So you can say with the map test. So with the map test. So everything is similar. Okay, so you don't need to change anything, only here. So remove this part. So remove that part. You create a map. So create the map. So how to create a map? First map interface, and then so key is a string, and value can be anything. So values I'm putting object, and that. So I can just put post request body. Post request body. Maybe you can put post request body. Yeah, that's enough. New hash map. Hash map, and so like this. So import this hash map also from java.util package. So you know already map means you have to call, so the put method, put, and all these elements you provide. So what are the elements? First one is what is this? Name. Okay, just give the name. So you give so name, and you can provide the name. Right? So I'll just give how many elements we have. I think next 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, gender next. So let's give gender, and next email. So email, I'm going to use this method. So I'm going to call this method directly. So I don't want to hard code here. So just place it. Simple. Okay. And you don't need to do any other thing. Then status, right? Status. And you can give so active. That's it. And then pass this map in the set body directly. See it, even it accept a map also. That's it. Remaining everything same. You don't need to worry about so what is happening there also. Internally, it will automatically the data will be converted and it will be processed for us. So this is the one of the, even you can put assertions if you want in the end, even email you can put an assertion also. I want to put an email assertion also. See, this is, we have put a RAM, right? And I'll put a assertion for email also. So how can we get that email And maybe if you want, you can fetch the email. Another way, you can fetch the email stored in one variable. And from that variable, you can call this again, same way you can store it. Or otherwise, email ID, you know how to get that email ID. And we can, so maybe I can store that email ID in some variable. So let's take from the maybe method you can use, and then you can store in some variable, like how you did a user ID, right? Same way you can do that email ID also. And let's get that email. Somewhere here we have a user ID where we got it. Yeah, same way you get the email also. Get email. Put email. Just write email. So just pass it here, the email, the variable. So you can pass it. Okay. So this is how you can do so validation. Let's run this. You can run this also n number of times. You don't need to worry about that. See, it is successful. Okay. So this is the our static, and this is the dynamic. Always the millisecond current time in milliseconds. You will get to automatically the dynamic data it will generate. Dynamic email will be generated. Okay. So the next one is now we are entering into the POJO classes. So the POJO classes are basically we need to generate the POJO class, but make sure understand first the response body. What are all the fields are there? All those fields are variables in your class. So all those fields are variables in your class. The basically normal Java class, but encapsulated class. So encapsulated class you have to create. So let's go and create that. I'll create my, this is no different, right? It's not a test case. So I'll create here under src main Java. Okay. So under src main Java, I'll create that. So you can create a here, maybe some POJO classes, something like that you can create. So POJO classes, maybe you can put a name, any name, POJO classes with all the POJO, because I'm going to create a Lambda also. What is Lambda? I'll explain. You need to understand the Lombok concept also. That's a very important. Nobody uses all this getter and setter methods nowadays. So if you are you don't need to create a lot of methods, right? Setter, getter method. For example, you have 10 fields. You have to 10 setters and getters. Then you need to generate. That will become huge. Your code is going to be very huge, and we don't want that, right? So it looks very lengthy. Your class is going to be very lengthy. Suppose okay, 10 fields are fine. If there are more, then what you will do, right? That's going to be a problem. So to avoid all this, we are going to do a Lombok. So let's create a first packages to create a Java classes. I'm using src main Java. Src test Java you can use for the testing purpose, and I'm using src org dot so API simple package and dot data. So that's the package I created. Under this, I'll create a simple a class. A class is user class. and I don't want to take main method. I do so just a normal class I'm creating. So with all these fields you create with all the fields. What are all the fields? Just let me take a copy first from here. Okay, these ones. Okay, I'll take these ones. So I'll create all this private string ID. That is one private string name, private string email, right? Email, private string gender, and private string status. Now you can remove this. Okay, so this just for your reference purpose. I'm just giving this all this. Okay, so that purpose only I just created them. Other than that, nothing. And then so you can generate now setters and getters. Maybe you can generate even a constructor also. So first, no, you have to create a default constructor. First, create a default constructor. One default constructor. Create default constructor. So how to create a default constructor? So you can just create Blake user. So that's it. You don't need to do anything here. Leave it. And I want to create a. I want to generate a constructor. So there is a source generate a constructor will be there. So see, this is the one. Generate constructor using fields. So I want to generate all this after this one. After this one, I want to generate. See, automatically constructor is generated. And even generate setters and getters also for all this. So right click, source, getters and setters. Select all, and where you want after this parameterized constructor I want. See, all the setters and getters are generated. So that's it. So this is the POJO classes we call them. So basically fields are private and constructor, and you have a parameterized constructor, this one. Parameterized constructor. And these are all the things. Okay. Now you need to set the data. So you can set the data in the class. So we can create a new class here with a POJO classes. So create a user with POJO class. Let's call this, copy this, paste it. So I'll just change with the POJO, just change with the POJO test. So you already know POJO means plain old Java objects. So basically I'm using object, user object, I'm going to use it. So you're going to use user object now. And you will create object for the user class and you will give all the data. So your see, you have a parameterized constructor here, right? So parameterized constructor here. So you're creating object for this constructor and you're giving all this data. So that's what I'm going to do now. So where is my POJO class? And here you don't need anymore this one. So you don't need this map anymore. So just remove that. And you can just create object for user class. Create object for user class. If there are POJOs, you have to create object for user class, user equal to, and so you just call new user and give all the data. So the first one is the name. So I can give anything. So I'm giving like that. And the second one is what we created. Second one here. So ID you should not take. Okay, ID you should not take, because this one you should not create with ID. Okay, so remove this. So there is no constructor for this. So we don't need so with ID, because ID is no, while creating time you don't need ID. So while creating time you don't need ID. So you just need to create with the name, email. So that's what you have to be very careful here. And create first name you can give, the second mail ID. So I'm just giving, I'll call this method. I'll call the method. Then, so email after. So we have a gender, right? Let's go here, gender and status. So gender, I can give so male, and I can give active. That's it. So your data is created now. Now you just pass this. Okay, import this first. You need to pass this user directly here. So here serialization play in the playwright, automatically serialization will happen. So the Java objects will be converted into JSON format. So playwright has that capability, and even a REST assured doesn't have that. We have to serialize that, but here it will automatically serialize. So that's why you are not converting into toString or something like that. So you are just the object you are passing here, it will convert automatically. So that's the one thing. And another thing, deserialization, I'll show you in the down. So deserialize how to do. We need to, you will get a JSON object that you can convert into Java objects also. Now your Java objects you are converting here automatically to by your playwright. That's a serialization. It is happening inbuilt. And another concept, deserialization. Deserialization is once you execute, so you will get the response. This response, so JSON response, that JSON response you have to convert into, so Java objects. You need to get the Java objects. That is called deserialization. So we'll do that deserialization concept here. Okay. So that is another thing. But where you want to do that? So these all verifications are done. Everything is done. Wherever you are doing a validations, that place you are going to use this deserialization. So remaining everything is same. So you don't need to worry about that. So only deserialization comes into picture when we are getting the data. So when you're doing a validations, okay, whether my response body has the data you want to validate, and that time you will use this. So let's go and do this. No, again, the email and everything you are getting anyhow, but I want to do some validations. So how to do that validations, and I'll show you here. Before this get call here itself, we can do validations. So let's go here and do that. So in this object mapper, where here it will be a slide change comes here. This is the place it will come a slide change. So what is the change here is we were using before a read a tree, right? So you have to use here read value method you have to use. Read value method will return actual user object. So actual user object, it will see, it will, so I'll just show you here. Yeah, this one, you need to pass this one here. So for this, let me remove this. So read, there is a lot of methods, read value method. So the read value method, you have to pass the string data. So that on the top 58th line, you have a API post response text, right? That you need to use value method. Sorry, read value method. So I'm going to use that to get that two parameters you have to pass. One is this one, and second one is you have to pass the user class. So user dot class you have to pass. And this is returning, you see that this is returning the method. I want a method. Let me mouse over. Let me change this. Okay, this is returning, see that it is returning user object. So you will get a actual user. So you will get an actual user here. So that is user. So actual user, so response. So maybe you can say whatever the name you want, or you want just want actual user, you can just give whatever the variables are. It's all you define them how you want it, right? How you want, you define them. So that's one, and then you print that value. So actual user from the response. This you don't need this one. Yeah, you don't need this, and I'll just print actual user response. So actual user response, and just print this. So directly you're getting the response here. So that's what one simple thing here. So you don't need any pretty format, all these methods you don't need. Now, once you print that, then you can get the user ID. So getting the user ID is all different now. So because you have to use this actual user, because you are getting the response. Right? This is the response now. Response dot, that response dot. There is a, so getter method you have to call. See, get ID, get gender, all these getter methods will be there. So you will call this, and automatically you will get the ID, and that you can store it here. Even same way you can get whatever the values you want, all the values you want. So this is the actual data, and this is the expected data, whatever you have given. So now I'm going to compare all the values like this. So let's compare all of them. So I'll remove all these things. You don't need all this, even this one, the verifications. Let's clean up and just do that assertions. So every field I'm going to validate now. So assert dot assert equals. So the actual user is the your response data. Actual user dot get name. See, I'll use get name, and this one. So what is the name you have given in the user object, first user object? So get that. So that is a get name. So this is the actual user data, and this is the expected data. So both I am comparing. So this is how you can do all the validations. This is called deserialization. So your user objects, your JSON data, you're so trying to get it here, converting into Java objects. So that's what we are doing here. So get email, and you can see here also get email, get gender, get status, get status. Okay, so this is how you can validate. And even so, even you can use all this user ID anyhow we have taken already here, and you can validate. Remaining it will work, but here you need to use the email ID. You need to get it. So, and I will call this one always. Sorry, email, right? This is the email you're seeing. Okay, so that's it. And this one also you don't need to hard code. Everything you can give. So instead of hard coding, make sure. So get name. So even this one also you can just give directly, but we already stored in a variable. You are calling the variable. That's it. Both places we are putting the assertions. In the post call, the same data is there. Whatever the data you have given, that data is present in the response body or not, you are validating. And here, okay, so once you get it, okay, the same data is there or not, you are getting. Whatever the data you have given, that data is present here or not, you are checking. So that's it. Let's call this. So this is one of the very interesting. See that it is successful, right? So that is a very simple. We didn't do anything. We just created one POJO class and then created object for that POJO class and given the data here. And then remaining everything is it is handling. But here the small change is a read value method. Before we were using a read tree method, but now we are using a read value method. So that read value method will help us. And also one more, I think, let's see that output is coming properly or not. Yeah, it's coming, but make sure there is a one more method you have to override. That is, so this you have to override, go to source, generate a toString method. So you have to generate the toString method after the last one I want. After set status. Okay. See, this is the toString method you are overriding here. So you make sure you are overriding the toString method so that this class data will print for you properly. So that's the whatever the data you are giving, it will come properly. So that's the one thing. Other than that, nothing. Let's run this again. Every time you will get a new data also because we are using a random email method. See that it will pass. See the user ID you're getting, and that is done. Okay, so the last one, let's do quickly in another 10 minutes we have. So the little bit change, not much. So what we are doing here is we are just creating the Lombok. Another, let me show you that Lombok. You have to add this dependency. This is the Lombok. So Lombok is basically, it reduces the boilerplate code. So you don't need to generate the getters and setters and everything. So that will give you automatically setters and getters directly to you. So that's the advantage with this Lombok. And we have written so much code, right, in this users. You can see in this user, you have written so much getters and setters, and this everything, the constructors also you created, and you don't need that in the Lombok case. If you use a Lombok and directly just some annotations, so hardly there are 3-4 annotations. That annotations, if you use, automatically it will help you to. It's very plain class. That class you can use it. So let's create this same one, and I'm going to copy this. Let me copy this. I'll delete everything. Okay, I'll change it again. So I'll put a different name. I'll give, instead of user, I'll give users, just to differentiate. Other than that, nothing. And you can 1 minute. So this entire thing, users, you remove everything. So remove everything. You don't need to do any code, all this, just only variables. And then there are some annotations. So if we just put @ control space for, if you see all argument constructor. So this is the one, and then no argument constructor, another one. So then you have @data, one more. So data, this is another Lombok, this one. So Lombok. So basically what this will create the, with all these parameters, the constructor, and this will create a default constructor, and this will generate the setters and getters. That's it. So that is a very simple. See how much code we reduced, right? So easy, and use it, and it will be, so your class looks very nice, and you don't need to remember all these getters, and it will give you automatically getters and setters. So that is the beauty of this getters and setters, and also how you can generate. But simply these annotations you need to remember. Make sure you remember these annotations. And so there is one more annotation is there. So that is a builder annotation for building the your values. That purpose you need a builder. So there is a builder. You can just read that. Creates a so-called builder aspect to the class that is annotated of the class. So these are the 4 annotations we need. Other than that, you don't need anything. And this is a simple class. Now you go and create a new class. I'll just copy this, paste it here. Lombok with Lombok test. Where is that? Yeah, this is the Lombok, right? Now you have to create object for this class. That's it. So, but a little bit code is there here, and that you have to build that. You have to build that all this, and let's create this simple. And I'm going to remove this everything. Okay, just remove that, and you just put a users, right? The class name is users, right? This also I'll change it to users. So users, and you just call that users dot. So users dot. Okay, I need to import, otherwise it will not mouse over. Let me import first. Yeah. So this is the one you have to import. After importing, see it will show. Let's start. There is a builder method is there. So that builder method will so help you to build. See all the names you can create. The fields it will show you automatically. I'm just showing name, and you give the name, whatever the name you want. And then so you can keep adding that, and then email. You can add email, get random email, right? Get random email, and then dot. So gender. So the gender is, you can give whatever you want, and then dot status. So the status is active, and dot, so build method you can call. So it will build the entire thing. This one is undefined for that type. Mhm. Wait, you save it. Yeah, we saved it. Builder is there already. This imported. Okay, so this one we don't need. Some so unwanted imports also there. It is going to give you a problem. Still, why it's not getting- Let me check the ChatGPT. So Lombok builder is not recognized. Giving compile time. No, so we already have that. Yeah. So we already had it. I think to. Okay, so this is the one. Yeah, something. Okay, so we need to do this one, I think.